Right. Good morning. Happy Monday. How is everybody doing? Good morning. We are just about good to go here. And once I get the thumbs up, I think we are all set. All right. Seeing green lights everywhere. So happy Monday to everybody. Um, as always, we'll start off with introductions. So my name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is October 11th, 2021. And let's start off with just a quick recap of where we've been over the past week. As always, I kind of like to start at the high level of what we're analyzing, and that's of course going to be with our S&P 500 index, or the SPX. Now, what we've done with this index over the past couple of sessions is simply mark the expected move for the week. The idea behind this is that the option market gives us a bit of information that we can take into our trading sessions. Essentially, it's trying to cap the upside and the downside risk in this market based around things like implied volatility and what the option market depicts risk based on where calls and puts are being bought for this index. So as we see from last week, we started off opening or closing the week around 43.57. As of course this Friday candle on October 1st. We opened the week and had strong selling, but of course found some recovery and ultimately bounced into a gap up that so far has yet to be fully filled. Now, if we look at just the expected move from last week, the option market did a fairly decent job capping the risk in both directions. You'll notice that we started the week with about a 90-point expected move, which gave us a low side of about 42.67 and a top side of about 44.47. Pretty much the entirety of our price action from last week stayed within that range. And ultimately, the market gave a lot of opportunity, either sort of capitalizing on that lower end range, looking for the recovery, along with even selling into some of the gap up that we saw on Thursday and Friday. This is more directional in nature, but we also had different theses inside of the SPY ETF based around things like volume profile and the idea that if a market becomes too extended, you can look to play sort of fade or bounce type strategies, usually taking minimal risk. And the idea is that you need a minimal move in the opposite direction to capitalize on some of those plays. So as we start this week, it's worthwhile to note that the volatility has come down slightly inside of a full trading week. We're, of course, opening a little bit weak this morning, but based on the close of about 43.91 and the expected move based on the October 15th series, we're seeing about an 80-point expected move, so about a 10-point reduction from the prior week. And that gives us an upside of about 44.71 and a downside of 43.11. Now, some things to note with regards to the SPX. There is a particular type of series that is occurring this week inside of the option market, and it is, of course, an AM settled series. Nothing really special about this type of series except for the fact that options in this series will be settled earlier than the normal sort of 4:15 market close, with the additional time frame to exercise, assign, roll, or close positions. So worth noting that if you are an index trader, along with the fact that we are in a week that has this additional series sort of tacked on to the market, we may see a bit of that earlier volatility as some of those AM settled positions get managed throughout the week. That'll be something we can monitor especially in regards to some of the higher volume and higher open interest nodes once they form throughout the week. Now, shifting back over into our SPY. As we know, the market did have a decent recovery bounce on Thursday and Friday. And what we're currently looking at is a possibility of a potential trend change inside of the daily. Now, when it comes to trend changing in the market, it's often beneficial for short-term traders to be looking at shorter time frames for clues, essentially looking for who is in charge and who is in pain. Essentially, this market, thinking just in terms of longs and shorts, everybody has perspective on what they think the market is going to do next. And for the most part, people have sort of a bias. There's often, at the very least, a positional risk or a directional risk in most people's portfolios. And that's simply because they're betting or speculating for a move lower or a move higher. Now, some of the nuance inside of last week's price action can be seen on a shorter time frame. Here, I'm simply looking at a 1 hour of the S&P. And one thing I want to bring to attention is how we got into this gap into the first place. So one of the things I like referencing are specifically strong horizontal levels of support. It's worth noting that over the past, or the first 3 sessions of last week, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the S&P was able to hold a fairly specific low, essentially being set by the drop that we saw on last Thursday's session. Let's see, making sure I get my days right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so that would be Thursday, yes. So essentially on 9:30, we saw a large decline in the S&P. The market essentially held this large range of balance for about 4 days prior. Now, when we look at a short-term time frame perspective, there's a few nuances here that don't necessarily show in regards to horizontal levels of support. One thing worth mentioning is that the market was able to continuously make higher lows throughout this volatile time frame, essentially forming a bit of rising demand. Buyers are willing to step in a bit earlier than the most previous low. And more notably, the market stopped making new lows. So as pressure was building in this range, you can imagine that shorts, essentially shorts who are coming in a bit late to the game, are trying to anticipate a new leg down in the market. Whereas longs, of course, are looking to buy this specific level and basically anticipate that it's going to hold. Now, obviously, after the fact, we did see the longs essentially win out in the short term as the market was able to rally quite strongly on Thursday. And on Friday, of course, we were pulling back. Now, just going back to our roots as technical traders, we kind of want to recognize that the market has a choice here. We have cleared a range. This area has been a very well-defined range inside of a few trading sessions, and the market did break out from it. It is not necessarily something of opinion, it is fact. We did break from this range and make a new high relative to the high of the first bounce. Hence, we have broken out. Additionally, as traders, we are often either looking to buy certain range lows, certain breakouts, or certain back tests, depending on what type of buyer you are. You're either a very aggressive buyer looking for support levels to hold with tight stops, you're looking to find momentum to get out of range, or you're looking for the type of confirmation where some of the volatility has ceased and the market is able to support itself on previous resistance. Now, obviously, as things are moving forward, we are looking at this range in a context of whether or not the market is trying to change trend. Because we know on the higher time frame of the daily that the market is still in a downtrend. But as with most trends, they often form bases or bottoms. In regards to an uptrend, they often form highs, sort of larger shelves of distribution. And using these areas, the market can often find moments of time to try and reverse, essentially to form larger balance zones. Things like our weekly are going to give us perspective on that, as we are currently barely hanging on to the 20, essentially closing slightly above it last week. So for the bull mindset out there, as we are at downtrending resistance, as the market is filling back up this extended gap from Thursday's high, and as we have cleared a relevant range near the lows, it is worth considering that the market may be trying to form a bit of a reversal structure, essentially to try and remove some of the selling pressure and ultimately push the market back to other swing highs, other previous swing lows prior to this downtrend. And ultimately, if we do break bullish, setting up for the potential of the daily trend to be reestablished. Now, as with any analysis, there are pros and cons to pretty much every setup. One of our cons right now is some of the selling pressure that we continue to see inside of the NASDAQ. We can do the same sort of analysis and see that while the NASDAQ didn't form necessarily the same type of range, it was able to print higher lows. And even on the recovery bounce after the large selling pressure of 10.4, you'll note that the Qs broke lower midweek last week, whereas the SPY did not. The recovery bounce, essentially setting some of the range high and the eventual gap higher, has led this market to sort of reflect what the SPY is doing. But as we know, and as we've discussed, this market has been heavily influenced by other forces. For the first part, we know that the interest rates are still in an elevated position. So as we continue to look at the 10-year, it's worth mentioning that so far the 10-year has not only broken a previous swing low, very strong impulsive move, but on a back test, it was able to hold. And we are seeing new swing highs relative to the breakout high. So this is all important for our thesis, because as interest rates rise, it doesn't necessarily mean that tech is going to form new lows, but what it can do is continue to provide downside pressure. Essentially, we can anticipate that certain tech sectors are not necessarily going to be outperformers in this environment. It is putting too much just overall anxiety and fear inside of those names and adjusting their relative ratios accordingly. Additionally, if we look at something with actual volume, something like the TLT, we can sort of anticipate where to expect reactions in the market. Essentially, for shorter term opportunities, if interest rates are the culprit, then if interest rates subside or pull back against their dominant uptrend, which has formed, then we can look for the TLT or some other trading vehicles to signal possible reversal points, short-term plays that if the market gets there, as you can see, the TLT is pretty much near this zone, then the market may have a stronger than average reaction back to the upside. And of course, what that would do is provide some short-term pullback pressure inside of the T and X. For those who also maybe track other futures products, watching something as simple as /ZB for the 30-year, or even going directly to /ZN for the 10-year, looking for these reactionary points. You'll note that the 10-year in regards to this futures product is hitting relative lows. We're essentially back where we started in late March. And when you think about the psychology here, March was a very poor time for the NASDAQ. It was a poor time for the market as a whole. But if you look back at the March performance inside of the NASDAQ, it was one of our underperformers. And essentially, if we get a similar reaction here, the NASDAQ can have sort of the same type of recovery bounce, but understand that this could easily break down even further. And we need to be looking higher time frame to understand how much downside can this market see. So that continues to be a risk for us as long traders, specifically because the NASDAQ holds so many important market cap names and the weighting relative to the SPY is highly impactful. You want to be thinking about those selling pressures and who's going to pick up the baton in regards to strength in the market. Now, as always, just because there is risk does not necessarily mean that everything is going to be a sell. We know that energy has been outperforming, and specifically on the back of crude. If you'll note today that crude is up once again, hitting a high of 82.18 inside of /CL. Similar notes here, you may want to be looking back in time to get an understanding of how high crude can go before seeing some larger reactionary price levels. We had marked off 77, a very specific price level inside of crude that has had notable lows, notable highs, and has been in a major inflection point for the market. This kept us out of a long position in regards to a 2-month consolidation. Very important analysis to have done if you were long crude in the first place. But as it continues to rise, we can see that there is another sort of important price level that is coming up. If you look back at some of these swing lows, something like 84 per barrel, providing some very relevant swing low support into new swing highs against a dominant trend. We can even see a pullback here, a more volatile month inside of crude, hitting a low of 83.85. And then, of course, if you look back at the most significant impulsive move in crude back in, back in late 2007, early 2008, while this isn't necessarily an inflection point, a low or a high per se, it is what we often refer to as a supply zone. You want to be thinking about rallies or uptrends in a market that have stalled and basically consolidated. Some people will call these sort of rally drop rallies or drop rally drops. These zones offer supply and demand points, and the market often will continue to respect them so long as they haven't been invalidated by larger price action. So even though this is an old supply zone that facilitated a blow off top inside of crude, it is still a technical area to consider. And combined with some of these swing lows, it may be worth noting what price does when we get to this level. So keep that on watch as we are continuing to climb here. And just noting that some of the momentum in natural gas has fallen off. So natural gas was sort of the start of some of this bullish activity. Now we're seeing, of course, crude take the lead. And we can simply be looking at some other areas, something like gasoline, which has broken out recently over the past couple of sessions, heating oil, which continues to climb, and even something like coal, which I don't have the ticker in front of me, but coal is actually seeing some bullish activity. So it's a pretty much an all asset class type of bullish momentum, with the understanding that a lot of eyes are on crude. Additionally, one of our other quote unquote risks, and same idea, every risk has its own opportunity, has continued to be the dollar. We're still seeing the dollar hold in this elevated level. And what we're watching at this moment in time is the potential for another sort of bull flag structure. I simply bring up just a, as always, should have this available prior to starting, but there we go. As we bring up this most recent move, and we just mark off the fact that the dollar has been holding in this area, we just want to watch and see, is there any significant price volatility inside of this range? Essentially, because the market was able to hold this swing high and has set sort of a new swing high to evaluate more of a dynamic resistance with these rising prices on swing highs, the market was able to hold on a back test and has consolidated ever since. So once again, a strong impulsive move back to the upside with a bit of a horizontal resistance coming up shortly. That could be sort of the final leg of dollar to provide some additional price volatility in the market. And the hope is that if you are long biased, you may want to see the dollar fade from this point forward. Now, as always, if that continues to not happen, I'll pull up to weekly just to see, we would be seeing something like a breakout of the 200 period on the weekly time frame, along with a potential breach of this major swing low. This is a low that was set during COVID and hence has a lot of relevance in regards to sentiment of the market. So as always, just watching these indicators, knowing where some of the fear in this market exists. And when you think about the relevance of some of the lows inside of the SPY and the Qs, it may require some of these fear-based indicators to actually settle. You want to be thinking maybe the bonds to have a responsive bounce near the lows and the dollar to sort of top near this area and maybe start to fade back down into support. Not necessarily a full reversal, but just coming back to an area where we've seen reactions off the lows in the past, sort of breaking down this shorter term daily trend that we have here. Now, as we enter this week, there is also our new risk in regards to opportunity, and that is, of course, earnings. We're getting back into earnings season, and this is, of course, going to be our last earnings season of this year. So as day traders, as swing traders, option traders, regardless of how you handle your portfolio, there is going to be new opportunities showing up in this market, along with the idea that some of the sentiment may shift into other positions. As always, just kind of knowing what's on the calendar for this week and thinking about how markets react prior to, during, and post earnings regarding your positional risk. So one thing I like to do is simply go into some of our main indexes. Something like the Dow is a great place to start, a bit of a shorter list overall. Now, as you can see, we do have a couple names. We have Wednesday with some of the bank earnings, JP Morgan for the Dow. We have United Health, the largest holding inside of the Dow, at least as far as I recall, unless something has changed significantly recently, along with the largest name inside of the healthcare sector, along with Walgreens, and then Goldman Sachs on Friday. Additionally, if we just add a new filter, let's look at the S&P 100, we start to see some additional names like BlackRock. Thursday sort of jam-packed with the rest of our banks, along with some potential day trading names here, as a lot of these names are prime candidates from a day trading perspective. And then Goldman Sachs once again on Friday. And then finally, NASDAQ 100. A couple of differences here. The only real notable name in the 100 starting off Tuesday is Fastenal. So when thinking about your trades for the week, one thing that I'm looking at pretty closely, given what's coming up this week, is financials. This has not necessarily been a laggard in the past couple of changes in the market, but with interest rates rising and with some of the bullish activity in energy, financials have been slowly climbing their way back up to all-time highs. Now, as we saw on Thursday and Friday, we can do a sort of similar analysis. Marketplace not only was able to continue climbing higher, during some of the bottoming action in the SPY. But during the Thursday and Friday gap up, we had a strong impulsive move off the lows and have pulled back into a general area of support. So looking at financials is a possible opportunity, but understanding that throughout the week of earnings, we're likely to see this oscillate back and forth, especially if one or two names come out with a negative or bearish reaction to earnings. That'll, of course, bring this entire ETF down potentially to lower supports. And the hope is that this trend can start to form more bullish, as that could be a sector to help the overall market. Additionally, as we talked about UNH, one of our larger holdings in the Dow and a large holding inside of XLV, our healthcare ETF, we're simply looking at this marketplace at a potential support zone. This was something we noted last week as a lot of volatility was being seen in stocks like mRNA, Pfizer, PFE, and just some general selling pressure in the healthcare sector as a whole. But as always, with every sell, there's often opportunities to buy. And usually these buys need to be at the right spots and essentially with the right confirmation. Additional sort of relevance here as the market was able to both bounce off of Wednesday to Thursday lows in the market, and also is trying to change trends, shorter term time frame trend here, but ultimately pulling back into the zone and has upside room at least to our downtrend resistance. So looking for short-term trades, looking for opportunities, certain markets are a bit overextended to the downside. And if the market does reverse, we expect some of these to maybe start to recover back to swing lows or even to retest recent swing highs set by the daily downtrends. Along with certain sectors, not even bearish in the short term. Our energies, our financials, even looking to sectors that haven't necessarily started to rally, but are giving us indication that they're starting to recover. One that I'm highly interested in is industrials coming off of the 200-day moving average and seeing a breach of our downtrend resistance. This is sort of the expectation if the market is to reverse, as some of these lows that are being printed are being tested, and ultimately if the rally can continue, we should see some of these support range highs start to hold. So as always, looking throughout the market, trying to interpret not necessarily just directional risk, but also relevance in regards to expected move. I often like starting these sessions with that understanding, knowing that the market can move at least 80 points based on option volatility. We got most of that volatility last week, so it's worth considering that the market can once again do it again, and knowing that things that are going to dictate direction might be based around some of our sort of, I would say, repetitive risk areas. Bonds, of course, are on watch. If they start to bottom, we should see notable reactions in the NASDAQ, or potentially even some smaller pullback selling pressure in some of our inflationary names. Additionally, what the dollar is doing can dictate the equities market as a whole. If fear continues and the dollar continues to rise, it's worth noting that the market may need to retest some of these recent lows, along with just having the enhanced volatility that we saw last week. The ranges are larger than normal, and whether you're trading stocks or the ETFs, whether you're trading index products or futures, there has been a lot of range to exploit in both directions. So as always, just stay defined risk, look for opportunities, things getting too far in one direction. If you're looking for directional bias, keep your risks well defined if you're looking more delta neutral, and obviously looking to take advantage of some of the volatility contraction that we may see coming up. Be watching some simple indicators like the VIX, obviously testing 20 this morning, along with are professionals buying up volatility? Based on the VVIX, short term, that has not been the case. And even something like skew, which was elevated before this major correction, this has come down significantly. If we just go to a line chart, we can see that a lot of that sort of tail risk that was being priced into the market, people were buying out of the money puts, and that skew was well defined. Some of the highest readings we've ever seen, that has come off significantly. So can that be the fuel for a larger than average rally? That, of course, needs to be seen a bit more with the technicals, but there is a stage being set here. And what that stage is trying to tell us is for us to find out. So as always, trade safe. My name is Jared. We'll talk a bit more tomorrow. Stay tuned for pre-market prep. And as always, keep things well defined. Don't get your head torn off. And we'll talk more tomorrow.
Everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market Prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you guys had an incredible weekend. Good morning, Norm. How are you doing today?
Good morning, buddy. I'm doing well. How are you? Well, I say that I am insanely tired. We had storms come through here pretty late last night, and I barely got any sleep. So
Oh
I
man,
apologize in advance for dragging this morning.
yeah. No, that sucks, and yeah, we know how tough that is when you don't get sleep, man. It's brutal. All right, guys. Hope everyone had a nice, restful weekend. Let's get to it. Our gappers list this morning. First, before we continue, let's give Jared a big thumbs up, guys, for engineering the
Yeah.
markets every Monday through Thursday. So thank you for that, Jared, coming on very early, giving us an overview of what's happening with the market, things to look out for. So we appreciate that very, very much. Silver Fox, that's a good one. That's all of us actually every Monday. All right, guys. Gappers list right here this morning. We're looking at a couple. Ptgx got Baba on here. Some stuff we have not seen. Others are pretty familiar, and
You
so
sound well
far,
rested. I will say that.
you know what? I don't know if I'm just getting used to waking up at 4, 3 in the morning. It's every day, right? So it's kind of like a routine now.
You're getting used to having no sleep because you have
Yeah.
a baby that's what? How old is she now? 2 months?
Not even, man. Not even. Just 1.5. Yeah, one and a
Yeah,
half.
exactly.
So,
you're
yeah,
just
so I'm
used
just
to it.
getting used to it.
You're in the groove.
Oh man, the wild card is my son. If my son wakes up, then he throws everything out of whack because then you're basically
Sure.
up all night. But if he's out, we're pretty good. So, but then talk to me around 11 o'clock, Norm. You'll see how dead I am at that time. So it's just a little boost of energy we get here in the morning.
Yeah.
All right, guys. And only LUV gapping down. So that's very interesting. So a lot of stuff in the green this morning. And it's interesting because the SPY is slightly down. So you expect more stuff to be in the red. And I slightly mean like less
All
than
right.
half a
All this
percent.
is trash, dude.
You know, it is. I haven't gone through it yet. So we'll have to check. All right, guys. Quickly, let's go over any announcements for the SPY or the overall market this morning.
No.
Perfect. None. Columbus Day. Yes, it should be interesting too. It is.
It's
It is
Columbus Day. Bond
Columbus
markets
Day,
are
yeah.
closed. Yeah, bond markets are closed today. There's no data coming out, so I don't expect a whole bunch of big moves. I mean, overall, the real stuff, the real stuff moving here is China and oil or commodities. I mean, there's a couple other I see commodity stocks moving, but yeah, kind of quiet. But we do have earnings. Earnings season starts tomorrow with the banks. JPM's tomorrow. That kind of kicks it off. And back to some trading, man.
Yeah. Let's hope so. All right, excellent, guys. Let's get to it. Let's see what we have here in our gappers list that might be worth taking a stab at. We're gonna go ahead and remove our watch list from yesterday, or Friday, that will be, and see what we got going on. PT. Oh, let's link this up. Hold on a second. Let's link our trade ideas so we can make our job a little bit easier today. Tools,
We'll
external.
say happy Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends up there.
That's right. Our Canadian neighbors up north. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. How do we do this again? Add link. Yeah, here we go. Perfect. And we should be set to go. Let's check. Yes, beautiful thing. All right, so we'll close this, minimize this, and we are...
It is. I did when Brian said he wouldn't. So a few of our mods won't be in today because it's a holiday for them, because of Canadian Thanksgiving. And I'm like, wow, you guys really get screwed with that. I guess it was on Sunday. The Thanksgiving is on Sunday, and then you kind of like you're not even business isn't closed on Monday, or maybe it is. I don't know. Either way, here in America, we do it on a Thursday. So we don't only get one day off, we get 2 days off to, gorge ourselves on food and deal with hangovers. And then you have the whole weekend on top of that. So
I got to say, we don't plan a lot well, but that was done very well. Thursday, no matter what. Very, very well.
Everything's closed. Okay, well, still... you took part of your weekend out of it. Now you just throw it in the middle of the week. You get a whole bunch of extra days off.
Extend everything out.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Excellent. Guys, let's take a look at our gappers list here. We have, starting with Ptgx, at the moment, 92% gap up this morning, guys. 2.8 million shares traded. Not a low flow, sitting at 42 million. But I got to tell you, this thing is moving quite a bit. So you want to be careful. Interesting action. Norm, this is a big pop. Do we have any crazy news on this?
Oh, yeah, of course. So there was FDA action, positive FDA action on a cancer drug they have that had some issues. But now I guess they've taken a hold off of it. So that is what has popped them up this morning. We'll see how it trades. I don't know. After that huge pop, it just kind of looks choppy and unpredictable to me.
I mean, you went from 19 to 34, 31 in one candle here. It's going to be very unpredictable.
And
so much technical.
and then it's just kind of between 30 and 35 just for the rest of the morning. So
yeah. And a lot of technical damage done on this thing, guys. I mean, look at the gap down just literally a couple of weeks ago. Can you imagine being here coming down here selling, and now a few weeks later, I mean, the emotional roller coaster on this stuff, man. So we'll have to see what happens here, guys. We'll put it on the list, definitely in play, no question about it. We just have to see how this thing is going to trade here. Is it trying to get back to where it was now that things have been fixed somewhat here, or is it just going to be chop and just stay between that range? And not trade very well. Here's Baba this morning. Baba's been pretty good, guys. They have been recently a nice intraday stock to keep on deck here. 5.6 this morning, gapping up 1.5 from almost 1.6 million shares traded. Definitely in play. As you mentioned, Norm, some of the Chinese stuff here active this morning. Looks like Baba's might be leading the way here. BTBT, we got some Bitcoin. Just BTBT, really. I don't see other ones on here. Yeah, just BTBT on here this morning. They're at 4.5. I'm just gonna check Mara because that's the one I really like on this Bitcoin stuff, and they're not doing a whole lot. BTBT might just be doing its own thing here. They're trading right now up 4.5 to 400,000 shares traded. Might be worth taking a look at. Their dailies is interesting here because if you look at it closely, they're somewhat had this beautiful pop up here from 7 to about 10 or so. And now they've been consolidating here. Are they looking to break out of this range, right? And we know they have in the past very nicely here. So let's see. Pre-market action, not great. This has to get better or else we will drop it off. NTRB, low flow stock sitting at 3.6. No action, no volume. Moving on to MT, we know it's not a great one. This is a foreign stock. It is up 4.2 this morning, but intraday wise, it's just not great. SoFi, they are up 4.1. I don't think I ever traded this one. I think it's just very difficult to read the price action, guys. It is up 4.1, 643,000 shares traded. For me, I don't know. I don't think this is a stock that trades very well. I'm gonna keep it off my list for now. Not that's a whole lot of good stuff this morning, but that one's I'll just keep it off. PDD up 3.8, 165,000. Nice gap up. I haven't traded this one, but I know I've seen you guys. Actually, no, we have traded this one before. Yeah, I'm confusing with the other one.
I mean,
I'm confusing with PFE.
We traded this a decent amount back in the day. I have not traded this in a long time though. So
I haven't traded it recently. I mean, they're up now to almost 4% here, 165,000. I wish they had more volume. They seem to have a nice gap up. We'll put it as a possible, but it's a very, very slim possible here, guys. I mean, I'm sure hopefully we can find something better than this. And if not, remember, it's the type of day that it is. It's going to be very slim pickings today. VIPs, so VIPs this morning up 4%. Again, just light volume. We trade this before in the past. You know you need the volume for this one. So the gap up is not as important as the volume is going to be. Can that come in at the market open? Maybe. Right now, I'm going to keep it off. PTD, we looked at TIGR. Not a whole lot going on there. Yeah, this list is, yeah. Let's skip down. What else do we have? Valet is no good. It's just not a whole lot of volume. MGY, yeah. I'm gonna stop here, guys. There's not a whole lot that looks great on this thing. I mean, let's look at JD. Maybe no. I'll take a look at Baba instead for that. Oxy has been Oxy's decent actually. Oxy might be one to keep an eye on. See how that is going to trade today. Outside of that, I don't see anything else that's good here, guys. Down this morning, gapping down. Very interesting. LUV. What's the news on this? If any?
They had a ton of cancellations this weekend. So they're saying, I think it was like 1,800 cancellations over the weekend. I actually have a friend that was here, OU alum, that came in for the game, and our flight back to LA was canceled 3 different times on Southwest. So they're saying it was staffing issues. There were staffing issues. There was FAA air traffic control problems, and there was weather. But for some reason, they're the only airline that had this problem to this degree. And they just happened a few days ago to have instituted vaccine mandates. So they're thinking, the rumor is that pilots and other employees have called in sick and such to cause this problem.
Seems like a lot of employees are sick. It just seems doesn't seem normal.
Look, there we go. FAA denying any staff shortage issues. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, Hamish is saying Love canceled 20% of flights. AAL only 2. Yeah, there are all kinds of lights and sirens going off.
Yeah, something else is up there.
And if they,
Could be interesting.
1800 was, I heard 1800 flights. That's a lot of flights.
It's a lot, yeah.
So
Even 1,000 flights
a
now
thousand is a lot.
is
Yeah.
still a lot. It's still a lot because it's a lot of flights. All right, will be definitely interesting.
Anyway,
My concern is, man, we're
it
looking to take
doesn't
a.
trade that great. It's not
It
that great of a
doesn't.
trading. That's the problem.
Yep.
Volume's
We'll,
kind of sparse.
yeah, yeah. I mean, compared to what we have today, looks great, but for the most part, it's not there. We'll see where this goes. Airlines taking how about American Airlines? Anything else happening there? No, everything else is flat. So we'll have to see. It's funny, man. We're looking to take a family vacation at the end of the year, and we have to travel down to Florida. And I'm sure you know this. If your son is up or your kids are above 2, they have to wear a mask. My son will not wear a mask for nothing in the world. There's nothing I can give him. No candy, no nothing. So that's our challenge to try to get him to wear a mask as we try to get him into Walgreens and Targets just to pick up a toy. So we'll have to figure this out. All right. With that said, guys, parental problems. With that said, let's go over to our chat room. Our chat room. Do you guys have anything better than what we have here this morning?
I like Ann's suggestion. What about a helmet?
Yeah, you know what? Probably I'll
It
give him
always
like a
makes you look intelligent when a regular person in regular situations is running around wearing a helmet.
he might wear
People
like
stay.
a.
I will say that if you just like, I don't know, pick a store, go to Nordstrom or a grocery store, wear a helmet, people stay away from you.
Love it. All right, guys, what do you guys have this morning that we have not looked at already? Obviously, this Monday morning and this trading day is going to be a little funky. We could tell already, even by our pre-market show. Let's start here with Apple. Apple is a good one. Let's take a look. Actually, they got some decent volume, guys. 1.4. Pretty much flat right now, but I do like the volume on Apple. Yeah, this is better than a lot of the stuff I have on here. We'll drop this some stuff off and keep this. So that's a good one. What else we have here, guys? FLXN. FLXN up 73%. Could be interesting. No, share, man. Share what we got here.
Oh man, I mean, it's Texas OU weekend. This is a massive party weekend in my household. Has been
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
very long time. So, I my alcohol stream is still low on blood. Even though I've slept, I didn't sleep much last night because of the storm. So I'm a little loony this morning.
Don't
I
blame you, man.
apologize.
Don't
And then
blame you.
Hamish is like, "Are you planning on a book of sayings of these?" So anyway.
Of the BBT Saints, we'll see.
No, there were like 80. I had like 80-mile-an-hour winds. I've got this hole in my backyard with tarps on it, making all kinds of noise, blowing around.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
blowing boulders off the damn thing. So anyway,
Fun. All right, guys. FLXN here. They are up 72%. I don't like the pre-market action. You can see how choppy this is, even with 3.7 million. Looks like it might have been halted on news because there's no halts in the pre-market. But I do see here trading is resumed now, so maybe halted on news. Do we have the news, guys? Whoever set this out, do you know what the news is on this thing? Is anything good that we should keep an eye on? Again, pre-market right now, not looking all that great. What kind of company is this?
it looks like it's a buyout.
Oh, it's a buyout.
It's a
Okay.
biotech. Yeah.
So that's why it got halted. 41 million shares flow, not a low flow. Threats are possible. Let's see if that. I mean, there's not a lot looking great. Let's see if this volume creates anything, but we'll have to. If it's a buyout, I doubt it will do anything. Bank of America, JP Morgan. Let's take a look. Bank of America. No, nothing happening. They're not really in play, and we don't got to fish too much today, guys. It's gonna be a tough day. JP Morgan though, their daily looking very nice here. Are they trying to hit all-time highs? Yes, they are. It looks like all-time highs for JP Morgan here at 171.40ish or so. So that looks interesting. We could put that on there. Let's see if that's going to play out today. Volume very light, but that's typical for JP Morgan at this time of the pre-market, so that's fine. Heading down, what else we have? Bank of America, Ptgx. We do have that. That's the first one on our list, up 100% now. 2.9 million. We'll just have to see how that volume is going to translate at the market open. CCXI, we saw this last week, right? This was active last week. Today they are pretty much flat, 761,000. The trading last week, and you got a crazy pop here. After the pre-market, you did get a drop and a pop here. I don't recall if we had shorts on Friday though. I do not remember that. VYGR, maybe a secondary play on this, guys. Possible CCXI secondary play. VYGR this morning, they are up 1.3. Had a huge day on Friday. What's the float on this thing? VYGR. Float sitting at 25, so borderline low flow stock. Again, second day of this might not be great. We'll have to see. I'm gonna put it down as a risky stock for now. Again, I might not keep this here, guys. We're gonna fine tune this a whole lot. If the things don't look great by the time we get to them, we're going to be dropping these things off. Okay, cool. Let's stop here. MRK. MRK looks interesting. It came here below this bottom of this gap up, right? When we had this nice gap up here with some news. Now it's popping up here, going from red to green with some okay volume. They're tricky to trade, not hard, not impossible, but they're tricky. So you got to be careful. But they're up nicely today. Yeah. So maybe I like this daily on them for sure. MRK, good paso for now. Okay, cool, guys. Let's stop here. Let's take a look over on YouTube. What do we have? Mara could be interesting. I looked at Mara. I didn't see anything great on it. BTBT, though, seems to have a little more action. But yeah, I agree. You know, Mara, the other Bitcoin stock, depending on how Bitcoin is going to trade today, could be interesting. Their daily is interesting, right? You got this possible breakout here, but I don't think they're really in play right now. That volume just seems extremely light. This morning, FLXN, we looked at, I believe we added it here, 3.8 million, up 72% right now. This is the buyout though, so we don't know how that's going to trade. Already, you know what, 3.8 million and you trade like this in the pre-market, that's not great. So I don't know you're going to get any. You might get a little bit better in the trading day after the bell, but it's not going to be huge. mRNA, guys, I don't see no volume on this. Only 60,000, 53,000 shares traded. Horrible pre-market action. Again, just not in play. SoFi, we looked at earlier, up 4.3, 718. You know what? Try to do something here. We can replace something else with this one. SoFi will do that. Sava's not for me, Sava's not a great intraday trading stock. I know that some people have done very well with this one. I find it difficult to intraday trade. So I'm going to keep it off my list. Also, not really in play, guys. Look at the volume on this one. Very light. I saw XPEV in the chat room and I see someone throwing Neo. We'll look at both of those again. Both, wow, XPEV only 80,000. Not really in play. Neo has more volume, but again, that 400,000 is like almost equivalent to XPEV's 80,000. Because Neo, when they're in play, they're putting 1.5 easily in the pre-market by this time. We're not seeing that. APA, no, not in play. Don't let this volume fool you, by the way, guys. Look at this 1.4 million shares traded, right? Where's that trading? You're not getting no good action here in the pre-market for that 1.4. So again, just don't let that fool you. It is up 2.4.
If you're gonna trade along those lines, I would go with Oxy or something like that.
Yeah, and we actually do have Oxy here. Oxy is going to be a better trade for these oil type companies, so go to that. Futu, nope, nothing happening on Futu. Pretty quiet. I mean, slightly up, but not much going on. We'll do a few more here. XOM, guys, what do we have? XOM. No, we'll stop here. Actually, let's stop here because we do have Monday mindfulness.
We have Mindful Monday. I wanted to hit one thing real quick too. So somebody asked on YouTube, what does the T and S mean in FLXN? Can you pull that one back up?
Which one?
With some FLXN flexing.
Yeah.
So the TS in the montage up there, what that means. So you will, if you're trading in DAS, it will tell you a couple of different things. The S means it's shortable. The T means trading is resumed. It will show that it is halted. It has an H, correct? If and when it is halted. And then once it unhalts and starts trading again for the rest of the day, it'll have that T, meaning that at some point previous to that in the day it was halted. Now it's trading resumed. So, and if you click on that, it will explain all those things for you. So as he
Yep.
is pulled up, has that there along with margin rates and how many shares are available to short and such. So that is your answer.
Yep. And if you're trading with a different broker, that information is somewhere else, but you'll get this information from your broker. Some there. Yeah,
I've seen
exactly.
trading platforms that doesn't have that, but
Oh, really? Oh, man.
Yeah.
You don't want to be
Lots of
trading with that. And also, this is where someone asked me last week, right before we logged off, SSR, short selling restriction, is also will be noted here as well, right? This is where you find the information,
it's true.
at least
If you
with
have
DAS,
SSR.
So,
Yep.
all right, guys, let's go to our community announcements and events. We'll come back and fine tune this list. There's going to be a lot of chopping in here, that's for sure. I'll tell you that.
Are you talking about me stuttering as I go through this because I'm so tired?
No.
Okay.
Chopping of the list, my friend.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So as we do every week, quick weekly rundown. You got Brian swing trade 2:30 on Mondays. We will not have that today, as it is Canadian Thanksgiving. Yesterday? So he's off today, but he will join us throughout the week to discuss his swing trades. And then onboarding class live every Monday night, 8 and 9 p.m. First, the onboarding at 8 with Carlos, then 9 p.m. tech with Kyle. Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon, you've got Eamon's trade reviews in the classroom, success webinars, 8 p.m. on Tuesday. Those focus on strategy. Sometimes you have a little technology mixed in, stuff like that. And then Wednesday is psychology. That's 8 p.m. Eastern time most of the time. But this week, we are blessed with we've got a triple dose of Creta. We've got her this morning, we've got her Wednesday morning, and she's got the psychology webinar 5 p.m. on this Wednesday, which we'll discuss in a moment. Thursday is mentoring with Andrew at 11 and Thor at 8. Trade reviews, as I mentioned, Tuesday, Thursday with Eamon at noon. And then Friday is crypto with Jared at 11. All right. Tomorrow night, success webinar. No, this is the old one. No, this is this one. Sorry, I'm losing my mind. Kyle hit these back to back, so I keep thinking this is old slide. But Kyle's hotkey webinar part 2 is tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And then next week we've got Eamon talking about trend trading, and that is at the special 5 p.m. time slot for our friends that are on the other side of the globe. She's in Europe, so she doesn't have to stay up too late. Going to be talking about overcoming your money mindset blocks. And then next week, we've got Nada at 8 p.m. Eastern. Sorry, man. I am all super chat, super sticker revenue this month is donated to National Breast Cancer Foundation, match dollar to dollar by Andrew. If you want to participate in the member trade of the day, trade of the week, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day with entries and exits on it and add as much commentary as you can. Post it on Twitter, tagging at Bearbull Traders, at MikeB_BBT, and at NormBBT. Also use the hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading, and Stock Market. Pick a winner each day and announce in the afternoon in the room and on Twitter. And then all those trades of the week are eligible. All those trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which is voted on by the team over the weekend and announced on Monday. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to try out the chat, use the promo code premarket24. Just go to bearbulltraders.com. Scroll down the page. Roughly in the middle, you'll see that test drive. Now click that. Apply that promo code when you do so, and you'll get a discount. It is 1 week. It will not charge you again. It cancels after that unless you come back and choose to become a monthly or annual member. Speaking of annual membership, you can use the promo code FALL40 to get 40% off the annual elite membership. How did I get through that?
Pretty well, man. Pretty well.
No, I'm stumbling. All right. Creta.
Sorry,
I cannot hear you. There you No, it's great. How are you this morning?
I'm very good, thanks. Really good.
Oh, good. Yes, it was well, my football team lost, and this is the 1 week in the year. It's a big rivalry. My wife's football team plays my football team, and we scream at each other. It's the one day of the year we don't like each other. And so I'm miserable because I lost in a terrible fashion. But I will get over it. I'm very tired though as well. So you look wonderful. We're going to be talking about reducing pressure through using meditation, which maybe I need after this weekend. So go right ahead.
I was just going to suggest it. Yeah, you can try it out. Perfect. So last week we spoke about pressure and what it does to your thinking, or how it actually affects the quality of your thinking. And so today we're speaking about what you can do about that, and specifically about meditation. So just as well to caveat this, or to put people's minds at ease, some people view meditation as being something quite out there, very, putting it in the hippie context, and it's not at all. It's backed by science. It's really useful, and it has loads of benefits. So we'll quickly go through them. But first of all, I just want to actually explain what's happening when you're in a state of pressure, or when pressure is affecting you. Most people are probably aware of this, but it's good to recap it. So when you perceive a threat, so that could either be an actual threat in front of you, like when we were cavemen and women and there was a bear or something in front of us, that's a threat, and we would elicit the stress response when we saw that. But now in modern times, threats can be anything that we perceive as stressful. So it could even be stuck in awful traffic, or your wife's football team winning over you. So whatever we perceive as a stressor or a threat can cause our body to actually elicit this stress response. And most people have heard of the fight or flight response, or freeze as well. So this is how our body actually primes us to deal with pressure and stressors. And what it does is it diverts all our blood flow and attention and energy to the kind of vital systems that we need in order to deal with that threat. So it's in a very physical sense. It would be that our heart rate increases, our blood flow gets diverted to helping us to run away. Our breathing gets more rapid and shallow, and we might even find that we're starting to sweat on the palms of our hands. So that's a real sign that you're in this state of anxiety or stress. And again, it's really important that it's your perception of it. So for example, somebody could experience that stress response at the thought of public speaking, and someone else might absolutely love public speaking, and so it wouldn't elicit the same response. So it's all kind of personally relevant, what you deem as a stressor. So that can happen to us when we're in the market and the threat of losing money comes up, or maybe we've lost money and we're in the next trade and we're thinking that we might compound this loss. Our body can actually go into that state, and so we feel that pressure. It affects our thinking, as we discussed last week, and then it can also affect our physical state. So what can we do about that? So in terms of pulling down the pressure, so this was one of the solutions to it that we spoke about last week. There's ways that we can do this by consciously activating our parasympathetic nervous system. And basically our sympathetic nervous system is the one that gets activated when we're in this stress response. And our parasympathetic is the one that activates our or promotes like rest and digestion. So kind of those functions that we can indulge in when we're not facing a bear in front of us. And there's ways that we can actually prime our body to get into that state. So things like yoga, meditation, even just listening to relaxing music, anything like that, getting massages, that actively puts our body into this state of rest and digest. And this is where we can actually recuperate from stress, heal, and where we can pull down that sense of stress that we were talking about. So if we manage to activate our parasympathetic nervous system, then our thinking can return to normal, our decision making gets better, and obviously that's going to have a big impact on your trading in the market. So quickly today, I'm just going to discuss meditation, and people might be familiar with this, but it's basically just a process of training your mind to really focus and to redirect your thoughts. So becoming very proactive about what you're letting your mind focus on. And it can be as simple as just like, there's loads of ways to do it, and mindfulness kind of falls under this category as well. But it can literally be as simple as just focusing on your breath for a specific period of time. And what might that look like? So at its most basic, this is an actual technique that you can try out, and I'll talk about the benefits in 1 second. You just take a deep breath in through your nose, close your eyes. This makes it easier to focus. So you take a deep breath in through your nose, you take it in for 3 seconds, you hold it for 3 seconds, you release it for 3 seconds, And then before taking another breath, you wait 3 seconds, and then you increase it to 4 seconds. So you're literally going breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold, and you're increasing the amount of time up until you get to 10. And while you're doing this, you're just trying to really focus on your breath. So it can help to focus on the point of inhalation, so the exact moment when you're inhaling, and then the point of exhalation, so the point where you're actually letting that breath leave your body. And that's meditation, or one example of it. And it sounds fairly simple, but the idea is that you're focusing solely on your breath and you're not letting these distracting thoughts come into your mind. So, things about maybe your finances or what you have to do later on, etc. So if you can practice that for even 3 minutes a day, so it doesn't need to be 20 minutes twice a day, start with 3 minutes, and the key is to do it consistently. So like every morning, maybe it's part of your pre-trading routine. And that's going to actually bring benefits to help you better control this kind of perception of pressure, especially in your trading, but it also has benefits for the rest of your life. So very quickly, some of the proven scientific benefits of meditation are reducing stress, controlling anxiety, promotes your emotional health, enhances your self-awareness, but really relevant to trading, and this is why I think it's a good technique to talk about today, is that it lengthens your attention span and your concentration. Very helpful when you're in the market. Boost your creativity, so maybe you're going to see those setups that your intuition is guiding you to that you mightn't see if you were very feeling very stressed, and then it also can help you to fight addictions. And in the context of trading, this means that it can help you with those impulses that you get to, jump into trades too soon or take too many trades. So not necessarily a whole addiction, but just that impulsive action that lots of people succumb to in trading. And we call it the monkey mind sometimes, where it seems like, the monkey brain just takes over and you just start pressing the buttons. So it can really help you to control those impulses. And really crucially, it improves sleep. So something that probably all of us could do with improving. Doing meditation 3 minutes a day can really help that. So that's just a little snapshot, and I hope everyone gets to maybe try it out, and love to hear what you think about it.
Yes, meditation is it is an amazing thing, and it's funny. Even a few minutes of it, it feels like a lifetime, especially when you first start meditating. 5 minutes of meditation feels like you're sitting in a room by yourself for 3 hours, but it will fine tune your mind. That's for sure. Kreta, thank you so much. Have a great day. All right, Carlos, take it. You're on mute.
There we go.
Either that or I've got everything turned off. Yep, I hear you now.
All right, perfect. All right, guys, let's get to it.
I told you guys you weren't going to be upset. Everybody was sad when we said Cats was going away, and we've got Kreta now, and she's just killing it.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Glad you guys love it. Guys, big thumbs up over on YouTube for Kreta and having her this morning, as well as, again, looking forward to her on Wednesday. And actually, Wednesday, we have another success. We have a psychology webinar by her, as you mentioned before, on Wednesday night as well. Yep. So looking forward to those. All right, guys, let's get to it. Our list not looking great today, and I was skimming through it earlier. It doesn't look any better, but let's see what we got here.
It nicely, dude.
I know. I'm trying to be as positive as I can.
The G-rated version.
Yes. Here's a
My Pillow. This is a My Pillow kind of day. How about that?
It is. It is not looking good, guys.
It's a Canadian holiday. It's Columbus Day. Bond market's closed.
Yes. Some schools are closed. I know not all of them, but there's a lot that are closed in my area. So yeah, it's one of those days. The volume is going to be funny today. Might be like a summer Friday. Think of it like a summer Friday. It's probably as good as setting up like a summer Friday. There we go. Ptgx, which again, guys, don't want to scare you. On summer Fridays, you can find good opportunities. You just got to be more picky. Got to be a whole lot picky.
I think that's Giza sheets, not Gaza sheets.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I missed it. Oh, there it is.
I said My Pillow, and he said, they
Gaza sheets. Anthony from BBT. All right, guys, let's get to it. Ptgx this morning, guys. up 90%. Again, the volume is there. This thing has popped up pretty good already. Definitely some technical damage done in this daily. This thing gapped up from 46 down to 2018. Now we're up to 34. We'll have to just see how this thing goes. We'll keep it on here because I think it's very interesting right now. Again, you cannot deny this thing is definitely in play. It's just about how are we going to get some good clean trading after the bell. Here's BABA this morning. They are up nicely, 5.2. Probably, I gotta tell you, BABA is probably one of the better stocks, probably the best stock we have this morning. And they have been trading very well. They're daily here, guys, looking very nice, beautiful breakout the last couple of days. Maybe a continuation. I mean, we are extended on this move. But I think we might have some room to keep going here. There's some good resistance coming up at 175. We haven't hit that yet, so we'll see. This looks good. So definitely gonna keep BABA on here. Ptgx, we'll keep that one on there too. BTBT, I'm not a big fan of. I know the day looks good. Mara also looks decent. I'm gonna bring it down, guys. Even if today we only have 4 tickers, that's okay. I think BTBT's got to come down. I don't think it's really in play for what we're looking for. I have Oxy here, but Oxy is really more of a possible as well. So again, we're gonna fine tune this list to what really is looking good this morning. We'll bring Oxy down also. I like BABA and Ptgx right now so far. These two are definitely in play. LUV is interesting. I like LUV quite a bit, guys. I think this one here is down 3.6, but definitely in play as we head lower here, 313,000. That's good volume for Love, by the way. They don't get a whole lot of volume throughout the trading days. You can see here 12 million is the top that we saw in September and so far for October. So again, you get sitting here at 313. That's nice. Apple has great volume, guys. I think also looks very good. Great pre-market action. 1.5 million shares traded. They're down just 0.5% here. Interesting daily. I think that one is good to keep on here as well. Let's check our secondary list. We moved Oxy down because I don't think it's really in play. We moved BBT down, BTBT down. CCXI, I just do not like this pre-market action, guys, at all. It seems very choppy to me. PDD also doesn't look great. I mean, you got a gap up of 4%, but that's really it. FLXN, I mean, this one, guys, could be a hit or miss, so we'll keep it on here. JP Morgan, I'm going to remove, guys. I love the fact that they're hitting that all-time high, so maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll keep it. MRK, it's got some movement here. It doesn't look great. SoFi, again, it's just, we have a whole list of possibles here that we'll just have to wait a little bit. We'll come back to this list again. So far right now, what I really like is Ptgx. I like BABA quite a bit. LUV is looking good. Love here in Apple. These three especially are looking very good this morning. Out of this entire gappers list, I think that's the one that's really got it going on this morning. Andre, thank you so much for the donation there. Do you want to make your trading better? Go and watch Creator's webinars and do what she says. I agree 100%, guys. Thank you so much for the donation there. All donations are being matched by Andrew dollar for dollar, and this month we're doing breast cancer, so thank you for that. All right, so let's go do some levels. Ptgx right now. Again, this one is just a whole bunch of technical damage being done here. Out of the entire list, this is probably the least of my favorite on this list of 4 stocks that I like this morning. Top of the list right now, well, high of the pre-market, 37.23. We'll slam a level there. If we go to the left here again, this stock normally does not trade very well, but obviously we got some news here, right? They had some horrible news and now we got some good news. So that is creating some pretty good swings for us here. On the daily, if you look over here, we got a great level of support happening at 33.62, guys. Look at that there. That is very nice. Above that, we do have 34.50. That's another area as well. We're seeing a great area of resistance. You can see just the back and forth happening there, so that is good. Definitely want to keep those 2 levels on there. Above the pre-market highs, we do have 39.74, another area of resistance and also a little bit of support happening there as well. So I think that's pretty good for right now. Now, towards the bottom, if we were to lose this great area of support on the daily, this is 33.62, which in the pre-market right now, you can see we've kind of been playing around with some of these levels. Here's a 33.62 from the daily, which is pulled up. We got 35.70 from the daily here as well. You can see the resistance happening here, and you have your high of your pre-market. So if we're to drop even further down, we do have some daily levels here. Not a huge level, but 31.54 seems to have some action there. And then below that, we got a good area of support right on here, 28.94, guys. Good area of support right over there. So that's what we have for Ptgx. Again, the least of my favorite out of this four stocks that we have here. Here's Baba looking pretty good this morning, guys. We are sitting right at a level, by the way, on the daily. If you draw a line right on here, around 169.20, right? 169.20. You see a lot of touches, a lot of days opening, closing right around the area. You have a little bit of support building up there to where you have some support that build up there as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. This morning, we already see a couple of bounces off of this. So that is nice. We're showing that we are respecting this 169.20 area. So that's good. Above this high of the pre-market, let's, high of the pre-market up here. This is your high of your pre-market, which we will mark 172.21. But I do like this area here a whole lot more than the high of the pre-market. It's 170.73. And the reason for that is, guys, because we tested this a whole bunch of times here. And again, just a couple of minutes ago, again, right in the same spot, that 170.73. So I like that level better than 172.21. This is still important, especially if we get above this 170 and we start building some kind of support there and want to shoot up to the high of the pre-market. That is great. But that 170 right now, definitely important. And seems we're trying to head back down to this 169.20. So that is between that range. Outside of that range, if we zoom out a little bit here on the daily, we do have 166.73. A couple of days on there. Again, Baba doesn't have the best daily, so you are going to have a tough time finding great levels on the daily chart, but there's a few. 174.27 and also all the way up here 176.81. So you got a couple of levels surrounding the price action. Towards the bottom below this 166.73, you do have your highs and lows from the last two trading days. Previous day close are taking care of you there. So let's go to Love this morning again. I like the daily on Love. Nice little pop here. Kind of got something going, and today they have some bad news about cancellations of flights up to the numbers is between 1,000 and or 1,800. It's still a lot of flights being canceled, and that's not good. So high of the pre-market 53, towards the bottom 51.93, and then down here we do have 50.86. I think that's plenty of levels for Love here. Towards the top above this pre-market highs, you have plenty highs and lows from the last two trading days. So that's looking really good there, guys. Like the action on it right now, 386,000. They are down 3.1. And it's the only stock on our list that is very above 2% red. Apple is red, but slightly, but it's the only one on our gappers list that's actually red this morning. So that could be interesting. Here's Apple with amazing volume. They were probably down 1% here a few minutes ago around 8 o'clock. They seem to have found a bounce. Low of the pre-market 141.66, but I'm going to mark this one here 141.81 because again you have a bunch of touches on right here and here, so I want to have that there just in case we do decide to drop further down. Towards the top, guys, we have some levels here, highs and lows from the last two trading days. These 2 days right on here are creating some good levels for you. You do not need to add anything else more up here. Your high of your pre-market pretty close to the lows of the last two trading days. So again, I don't think you need to add anything more to Apple unless you want to go towards the downside below these two levels that we just marked here on our pre-market. If we head to the bottom, clearly this here is a level, right? That's a level there, 139.19. That's a big drop, though. You're not going to go from 141.86 to 139.19 on Apple just like that. You will make a pit stop somewhere. I will say if you were to do that, it's going to be here, 140.72. So we'll slam a level there just in case, just to be ready. Right now, it looks like it's trying to get it into green territory the way it's bouncing here. Nice pre-market action. And the best thing about this, guys, we're doing this pretty clean with some really good volume, 1.6 this morning. So that's looking nice. All right, guys, that is what I like so far. The rest are really all possibles, and some of them are good. Some of them are just horrible. Oxy is a possible. BTBT is possible. CCXI, this doesn't look good. Get rid of this one. PDD doesn't look great. Get rid of it. FLXN has volume. This actually could be one that we can move up here. I'm just concerned with the way this pre-market action is building here with that type of volume. This to me spells chop. I don't know. It just looks choppy here. I'm going to keep an eye on it, but I think this is going to be a choppy open for this FLXN. That's why I'm not adding it to my main list. I want to be careful today with it being a holiday and stuff like that. You want to be careful. I'm just going to stick to a very fine-tuned group here. JP Morgan, no volume. MRK could be interesting. We'll keep it on here. SoFi, it could be interesting as well as it tries to break some new highs there. But that 4 is what I really, really like this morning. Did I miss levels on Love? I don't think we did. No, we did levels here. You can see we have 53 high of the pre-market, which got some good support happening here. 53.91, low of the pre-market, and then you have 50.86 right on here as well. So we got some good levels for love there. They got some nice pre-market action this morning. Pam, you probably zoned out during that time, right? As you're saying there. Maybe you're doing the meditation there for 3 minutes, and that's good if you zoned out. It's very good. Guys, let's take a look at our moderators lineup. As I am doing this over on YouTube, please hit that thumbs up. We appreciate it very much. It does help us out quite a bit. I'm going to bring over what our moderators are looking at this morning. And a day like today, I really want to see, because it's a funky day, guys. A funky day with the watch list. Again, you have a gappers list that's full of stuff that it is all not looking well. So again, our scanners today are going to be very important. I think they can provide some opportunities as well. So we'll be looking at those also as we are trading the open here. All right, let's bring this in. Let's see what we have. Let's take a look here. Interesting to see what's moving today in our moderators' minds here. Jared is AMD, Neo, XPET, Baba, Baidu, and he's looking at the energy plays, which has been incredible the last couple of weeks. Here is Jared also adding Apple as well. Tiffany's looking at Baba and Apple, both looking very decent, great volume. Baba, JP Morgan, if it can get the volume, agree with that. Eamon is looking at AMD and also maybe Mara. Again, Mara also has some good potential. So I have BTBT here. They both could be breaking from the daily on there as well. And for short, GM, TIGR, Tiger, and Zoom here, XOM for Eamon. Thor is looking at the SPY, Baba, Apple. Secondary is Love and Neo. Simon, Apple. American Airlines, AMD, and PLTR. It's got some targets there for you as well. Key levels he's watching. John is looking at Baba. Peter, no IPOs, no SPACs for today. Typical Monday. And then Peter's looking at AMD, Love, Baba. Secondary is Apple, Tesla, and Ptgx this morning. So not too far from what we have going on here, guys. Some will look at the same thing. Again, there's not a whole lot that looks great. But these four that we have here are looking pretty good this morning. So all we need is one stock to make our day here. So again, patience today is going to be key, guys. Don't go fishing for stuff that's not really in play, that doesn't really have the volume, that does not meet your trade book. Today's not the day to do that because there's a lot here that might not be trading very well. Guys, over on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We will see you again. Tonight is the onboarding class at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you have not joined so already, please do so. Premarket 24 is the code that you can use, and you will get access to the chat room for an entire week, kind of see what the environment is like. So head on over to that. And then tonight I'll meet you with Mike, John, and some of the rest of the moderators. Kyle usually pops in too as well. And we will have our onboarding class at 8 p.m. This evening. So love to see you there. Thumbs up. Thank you very much. If you're first time here, consider subscribing. We are live every Monday to Friday. So take care, trade safe, and I'll see you guys 8 a.m. tomorrow for engineering the markets as we transition over to the live chat room here with our members. I believe Thor is hopping on, and I'm not sure who's joining Thor, but I know Brian will be taking off for Canadian Thanksgiving, so he's off today. Thor will be taking his place. So take care, guys. Stay safe over on YouTube. See you guys tomorrow.